Okay? So, Shakti Sutras. 1. Everything is the infinite, beginningless and endless Shiva Shakti without a second. Without a second does not mean the time second, but there's no duality present. And everything is this infinite, beginningless, because it's beyond time, and endless. It will exist forever and has existed forever. Shiva Shakti, in its pure non-dual form. 2, Ishvara, which means the highest divine being. Ishvara is one with this, with form, yet without form. Ishvara is a cyan blue being appearing in whatever form suits the devotee, be it Krishna, Shiva, Mother, or whatever. And I speak from experience. I met the blue being way back when I was a teenager. And the blue being came to me as Krishna. And we merged briefly, and it is an insanely intense, mind-blowing, heart-blowing experience. So that's Ishvara, the supreme being who is unmanifest and yet appears as a form. It's mind-blowing. The mind can't grasp that you can be unmanifest, formless, and appear with a form at the same time. But that is the case. So in my experience, first I entered into a cyan blue space, void, which was infinite, permeating everything. And I longed for Krishna for some reason. I didn't know anything about Hinduism. And this blue, infinite, unmanifest, took the form of Krishna, but never ceased to be unmanifest cyan blue infinity. Does that make a little sense? I hope. 3. For no reason except its own enjoyment, a sense of I arises. Now, here we're talking about the individual entity, which arises out of the unmanifest for no reason except the fun of it, the joy. The joy of experiencing life, happy or unhappy, or whatever, living a life. The problem is we muck it up with all our problems and issues. But without that, life is simply there to enjoy. We've just created a mess of it. So for no reason, mark that, no reason, except its own enjoyment, a sense of I arises. So there's a basic urge to participate in plurality on an equal footing as everything else in the manifest relative world. And for the sake of enjoying that, the I-ness pops up and you are within the relative. Okay? 4. It is the seed of what Vedantins call Maya. Vedantin follows on Vedanta, which is the primal non-dual school of Indian thought. So this I-ness, this urge to enjoy the relative, is the source or seed of the Maya that you get entrapped in. You follow me? You look a bit dubious.
Can you repeat that?
It is the seed And this is referring back to the I-ness that pops up. It is the seed of what Vedantins call Maya. Maya means illusion. The illusion that the phenomena is the ultimate truth about the phenomena. While in reality, the absolute truth of the phenomena is the pure being, devoid of any plurality, without a second, as the first verse says. Okay? 5. We call it dirt. And that's simple. In Kashmir Shaivism, it's called mala, which can be translated as dirt. And this explains why, or the fact, that you do not become enlightened. You have to get rid of the dirt to realize your ultimate nature, which is perfect, has always been perfect, and will always be perfect. However much you mess up your mind and your life and your emotions, that will be untainted. It will be untainted and perfect and blissful. So it's not a question of becoming enlightened, it's a question of getting rid of ignorance. Verse 6, it is the seed of misery. Again, this refers back to the I-ness, the separation from the ultimate bliss and love of the self into a life of enjoyment and not so enjoyable interaction with phenomena. So it's the seed of misery. 7. This I-ness instantly asks, who am I? So when I-ness arises, chaos follows. Yeah. And in the midst of this chaos and the conflicting ideas about who you are, like one day you can be this, another week that, and so on, the question arises, who am I on a gross level, on a personality level? Am I a nice person? Am I a mean person? Do I like football? Do I like hockey or golf? Or do I like to paint or whatever? So on the relative, the question, who am I, arises. And as you progress examining that, you realize that you're not any phenomena. Because since you can be all of them, it means you're actually none of them.
No, I just know that I say freedom.
Yeah. So I-ness arises and instantly asks, who am I? 8. Then instantly arises the notions such as I am this, I am that. I explained that earlier today. The question is, as I said, a nice person, a bad person, I am this, I am that. And that can lead to a chaos of conflicting identities. One identity is valid when you're at work. One identity is valid when you're hanging out with your friends, lovers, enemies, whatever. You have one personality if you stand before the king or queen, and a different one when you are playing a game, chess with somebody or whatever. Now, 9, we repeat, all such is dirt. So first we're told we call it dirt, and then it is explained what dirt is. all these notions of I am this and I am that, that's dirt. 10. Shakti creates dirt, but is never dirty. Interesting, isn't it? Shakti creates dirt. The I-ness and the ideas of what that I is arise out of the unmanifest from as Shakti. But Shakti still remains unmanifest, non-dual, even though out of it duality emanates. So in that sense, Shakti gives rise to all this dirt that covers the real nature of Shakti, without Shakti ever being caught up in all that. 11. Or 10. Shiva creates dirt but is never dirty. 11. Shiva is always beyond dirt. And that refers to what I said just before, that the absolute unmanifest pure being will never lose that status, even though Shakti, which is one with Shiva ultimately, creates dirt. 12. The separation of Shiva and Shakti is an illusion. It should be self-evident. Let me see what I wrote. Once identification with dirt is extinguished and awareness has gone beyond I-ness by dissolving it back into source of one, it is finally understood that Shakti and Shiva were never separate and one is enlightened. So far, so good.